Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Those of you that know us will know that Tanya's been in hospital and had some surgery, so we've decided to get away. She's feeling well enough to travel short distance. We haven't gone too far, but we've gone away to one of the local lakes, and this is Lake Lonsdale. We had planned on going to Lake Lascelles, but unfortunately the road was pretty bumpy and she's still pretty sore, so we had to shorten that trip, and we've now just come to Lake Lonsdale. But I'm just gonna spin the camera around and show you what the view is here. Okay guys, so there's the caravan all set up. We got a little spot just near some gum trees. Haven't stuck it too close to under them because obviously we don't want part of gum tree falling on the van. But this is our view. Let's take you over and show you the lake. It is pretty stunning. We have got some other friends that are planning on joining us this weekend, so that'll be nice. Flies are a little bit insane. Tanya's actually in the van having a lay down. She's taking a rest from it all. The point of this was to get her away. Unfortunately, she won't do what she's being asked to do, which is just to do nothing. And she keeps insisting on doing stuff around the house, so I've taken her away from the house. But this is the view that we've got, which is absolutely stunning, beautiful. Not bad at all. I'll get the drone up shortly and send it over the lake just to get a better look. And this is the pathway. And obviously this is where the van is, so we're just literally a short walk from the water. Yeah, very nice. So we've got the I'll put the Ranger out the front there. We've got the fridge in the back with the alcohol in it, so there's been a few drinks in there. My common running on the power bank. And we've got the fridge set 0. And this is our spot. So yeah, all nice. So, get the steak, give them a good oil. Here you go, my love. So it'll take a while for these to cook up. Tanya's in there doing chips at the moment as well, and some peas to go with it. So, downside to cooking in the van, what happens?
It's very hot.
It does. Gets it very hot in here. So we put the Sirocco on to try and not let's do much, all the windows are open. But this is the end result. So let's have a look at Tanya's first. So we've got some peppercorn sauce. She's got a bit of mustard there. Peas and chips. Likewise. Cold Bundaberg. Delicious.
Well cooked, babe.
Hopefully, the beeper told me it was medium rare, so hopefully it's medium rare.
So what's we doing?
Great piece of steak. Very very nice. Okay, so just a little bit of insight into where we are. So this is Lake Lonsdale. This lake currently 122% full. This time last year, 25%. So it gives you some idea how much rain we've had in Victoria. It's a fairly shallow reservoir. It's on the Mount William Creek, and it fills from its own catchment, reliant on natural inflows. But it does suffer quite badly with evaporation. So the dry weather comes, expect to see this drop a lot. And over in the distance there, that's the Grampians. Stunning. The camping areas around here are 3 separate campgrounds with little subgrounds off of them, and I'll just drop in a snapshot from Wikicamps so you can see what we're talking about. There are no services here at all, so there's no power, no water. However, if you camp up at the boat ramp end, which is the furthest one, which is the furthest campground along Sandbar Road, there are drop toilets there, so there are facilities for drop toilets. And just up the road is a place called Stawell, and at Stawell you can get water, and there is a dump point there, and there's bins to dispose of your rubbish. There's some big supermarkets, bottle shops, things like that. It's a fairly big town, so very nice place to come and stop. For us, it's not too far up the road, a couple of hours. Anyway, we're going out to do a vineyard later, to do a tour at a vineyard, so we'll catch up with you later. Where are we then, darling?
We're at Seppelt.
She's been here before.
I have not been here before.
Sure she has.
And Richard said we couldn't come here because you couldn't bring the caravan, yet there's caravan parking here. So just for anyone who actually wants to come and visit Seppelt and your husband tells you you can't because there's no parking, they're lying.
Not that she's going to take it personal or keep going on about it all the time. Don't go on about it a lot, eh, darling?
I'm going to go about it a lot.
Anyway, so Salador underground tour, so that's what we're going on, isn't it? So it's one of the most famous wineries in Australia. Founded in 1863 by brothers Joseph and Henry Best. They came to the region in search of gold. Property was sold to Hans Irvine in 1888 following Joseph's accidental death, and again in 1918 on Hans Irvine's retirement to Benno Seppelt. Oh, it smells like wild garlic.
It stinks.
Oh. It's a big setup. Shaft House cellar door. It's here. So Seppelt wines is this one. Here we are. So Great Western. And this is where we're camping, just about here. And obviously our out's about 30 k's from where we're camping. Stowell is about probably 10 k's, maybe 5. More than likely.
So you go. Yeah.
You've got to climb in these days, huh? Yeah. If you jump, it'll be quicker. Yeah, that's it.
Some of these areas we still utilise. This was the barrel room here, so there was heaps of these big oak barrels all lined up right through this wing here. And eventually the smaller barrels came into vogue. But we have weddings and events and everything in here now. We set all of this up out the back as a wedding chapel and function area. And we've also got the 1892 cellar we're about to head into, which is our main function room. At this house, shipped to Portland, Victoria, ironically, and then transported up by horse and dray all those miles back up here. Now, back in those days, that was no mean feat because these were big pieces of timber. They would have been shipped out above deck. For instance, this beam here doesn't have a join until about the second last post down there. Oh, wow. Yeah. So they're massive big bits of timber. But this area was the barrel room. So imagine 20 or 30 of those big oak barrels. Now they're 5,000 and 6,000 litres converted from gallons. kilometre. And you fill 30 of them in here on this floor. You imagine the size timbers they needed for the foundations of this building. They duplicated this, they expanded it out. They used concrete pretty much the same dimensions, and I reckon if we come back in about 100 years' time, this will be about that concrete. It's just amazing to think that they did this all those years ago. You wouldn't get timbers this size. They're massive. They're massive. But it's light and it's got that high tensile strength, so it was perfect for this use. And this area was custom built. We're not quite underground yet, ground level's only here. But this area was called bramage, and that's the process that describes the French method of making champagne. Have we got any wine experts, any wine makers at all?
Expert at drinking it.
Just drinkers like that? Right, I'm no expert either, but I've just picked up the knowledge that I've gained working here, working with winemakers and stuff, racking their brains. So I've learned on the tours to keep it as simple as I possibly can, so we can all understand it from kids right up to old buggers like me. Gather around this way and we'll talk about making a Shiraz today, like Irvine and Hero did all those years ago. We'll make it into a sparkling Shiraz.
Ooh, scary. Tanya's walking barefoot. Why are you walking barefoot, darling? She's had a blowout. Busted a plugger.
Alright, welcome underground. Now this is the longest drive. We're going to come back that way a bit later on, but from that end up to this end is about 140 metres in length. And we're down the bottom of the drives now. Actually walk down the hill from the shaft house and come downstairs under the 1892 cellar. So as we get around the corner, you'll see that we're heading back uphill. So when they dug these, even back in the early days, they knew to stay in that 7.5 metre layer, you know, and it's about 15 metres deep, this layer of decomposed granite. So to stay in it, they had to stay within the contour of the hill as they went. And there's always a rule: if the lights go out for some reason or you get stuck down here, just head downhill and you'll come out in this drive here. Find your way back up.
Not done by hand.
All done by hand. A lot of the soil was used to backfill the old diggers' holes. So you wander around the bush around here, you won't find a lot of diggers' holes. Like you do out Barclay Way where I came from or whatever, you know, they're still there, but they backfill a lot of the old holes. They're all blackberry mould. Not even native to Australia, this mould that grows prolifically in Europe, in the catacombs and caverns and dark places. So the theory is it got transferred out here about 140 years ago, maybe on some equipment or oak barrels or something. And once it got down here, it just grows prolifically. And never been any issues with health. Not like your bathroom mould that riddles. I can imagine those poor buggers in the flood zones and that at the moment. But
Feel a bit crook now, actually.
yeah. But I reckon like they would have black banned these drives years ago if this was a real problem.
Yeah.
And you talk to people that work down here and they just, you know,
No drama.
didn't worry about it whatsoever. It doesn't grow on concrete, so you didn't see it when you first came down the drives. And fresh air it doesn't like. So
I'm not supposed to go to Cape. Well, let's see if I can go.
So yeah, welcome to the branding of folks. Come right in. Ian's Irvine had a distillery, a brandy distillery. So we had this excavated distillery's bottles of brandy, but wasn't that successful and remained empty for many years until the mid-70s when Seppelt decided to try and promote the winery with an old trick that Hans Irvine used to use. They put these little alcoves in and offered them up to the prime ministers of the day. Now Malcolm Fraser was a patron of the winery anyway. He come from just over the back of the mountains, Balmoral, Marine. And he used to come here and taste our wines and buy them. So they talked him into storing his wines in that alcove down the end there. That was his little hutch. Still carries his name on the plate. When he passed away, we had to empty it out. There was some pretty nice old wines in there too, all the Seppelt stuff. Send them back to Tammy. And he was the first and the last PM to take us up on the offer When you think about it, like, Bob Hawke followed him and he was just a beer drinker. And then Keating would have been French champagne, so we couldn't help him. Little Johnny was a teetotaler probably. To be honest with you, the rest aren't worth considering, so. They would have just gone out a few metres, but if you keep going out that way and then you want to join it up, you'll come into a crib pattern. When we get upstairs again into the shaft house on the way back, I'll show you the map and I'll show you exactly where we walked today, so you can understand. So,
Feels like sawdust.
yeah, this is all over there. A little bit wet down here during the winter. It was dripping down and there was something.
You know how many bubbles you got down there roughly, Cock?
No, I'm not now, mate. There's been nowhere near. There'd be a couple of million.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, they're just, most of them are false, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, during that period where they took a heap of the bottles out, they were extracting and not replacing them. Had a winemaker here named Ian Mackenzie, a great winemaker, and a great corporate man. And he expressed concern about the preservation of all the old bottles. And so him and his team got the blessing by South Court to go through and gather up what they needed. The oldest wine ever recorded in this or found in the winery, not so much in the underground cellars, is in a cupboard up there in the shaft house, and it dates, I think it's an 1897 Clara.
So this is the layout of the underground catacombs that we've just been through. These stretch for over 3 kilometres. Massive, absolutely unbelievable, well worth a visit. Okay, so that was Seppelt Vinyard. A little fun fact for you, Seppelt actually discovered or created sparkling Shiraz before anyone else in the world. And that was because they brought a winemaker over from France, and when he came over after the harvest had been done and all of the white wine had been bottled and sold out. And all they had left was Shiraz, was red wine. So to keep himself busy before the next harvest, he decided to introduce a sparkling Shiraz, and that's how it came about. So that's an interesting thing. Anyway, we're going to get home, back to the van now, stick some of this wine in the fridge, and we'll come back to you later. We are back at the campground, chilling out. We're going to have an early one tonight. Sit and watch a bit of TV. Chill out, we've had a busy day. Sunset's looking great. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's very red. And here we are. Beer.
Wine.
Glass of wine. Let's just spin the camera around and let you have a look at the view with the sun going down. Not a bad view, even if I do say so myself, and I do actually say so.
Broken the drought, 2 weeks, no alcohol.
Yeah. So woken up to a slightly windier day today, as you can probably hear in the background. I just thought I'd show you the lake. So the lake's chopping up good. Look at that. You can almost surf on that. Okay, just a short drive up the road. Place that sells firewood just here on the right. There's the second entrance to the campgrounds, and then further up still brings you up to the third campground, which is where the boat ramp is and also where the toilets are. They do have plenty of signs telling you not to camp underneath the gums because limbs are dropping, and obviously that's something that probably most people should be aware of anyway, that you don't get too close to gum trees. And this is the boat ramp one campground here, which is actually nice and completely empty, almost completely empty. It looks like there's one person in there. This being a Monday. Okay, so this is the entrance to the boat ramp. The boat ramp is over there, and here's your toilet block. Okay, so this is the boat ramp end of the campgrounds, and at this end you've got the toilet block. Non-potable water here, so you can't drink it obviously, but the toilets, yeah, they're basic but they're clean enough. Drop toilets, they don't smell. There is a parking area out the front, so that even if you're at the other campgrounds you can come up here to use them. It looks like they've got a dumpster here to chuck your rubbish in. Let's see if it's unlocked. Yeah, it's unlocked, so that's the campground over there, which we're going to drive through now anyway. Back out onto the road. The weather's turned a bit sour today. Got a bit of cloud and the wind's picked up. Temperature's dropped now down to 19 degrees. Yesterday was up in sort of 34, 35 degrees. I think we saw 36 at one point. So she was pretty warm. Okay, spin this around. I'll take you out of the campsite.
GPS fixed. Recording stopped.
So obviously next campground just here, fire pit there, sort of burning pallets there, and then obviously there's plenty of these fire pits dotted around. One just over there, another one just here. So yeah, plenty of space to camp. And again, another one there. Now when we drove into this campground on Saturday, this was pretty full. There were still spaces, but it was, yeah, it was pretty full. But as you can see, if you plan your trip to arrive here each side of the weekend, like this is Monday, you've pretty much got your choice of where you want to be. And then back out onto the main road. This is a going home day for us today. So hopefully you've enjoyed seeing around Lake Lonsdale. I'll just give you one quick final look at what the boat ramp looks like down here. It's still blowing quite hard, and the temperature's really dropped. It's pretty cold, the wind, but it is a beautiful place to come. Just get down to the water and I'll spin the camera around. So this is the boat. This is the boat's ramp area. Just turn the camera around for you. Okay. You see there's a jetty here floating on, which is going some at the moment. Well, you get seasick on this one. Hey. Oh. Yeah, it's quite hard to stand level on this. It's bouncing up and down so much. Anyway, well, that's us done. All that's left to do now is reconnect the caravan and take the drive home. So we'll get back and we'll get that done, get that underway. Well, that's us all done. We've just taken our way out to Stowell, or Stall, and there's, in the town here, there's a dump point and potable water. So, just near Woolworths, so if you don't know where it is, come and find Woolworths. There's a tap just here, potable water, and the dump point, and parking right outside. Also got rubbish bins here. So yeah, we're going to get this done. A good bit of the journey.
Now, our favourite bit, emptying the toilet. Yay!
So if you've enjoyed the content, please give us a like, thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next adventure.
See ya!
See ya!